So we've had many an EV on Tech Today, and the most popular EV, which won our Best EV of 2022 award, was the Nexon EV. It's popular, it's refined, and it's at the right price point where people can actually consider investing in an EV, and maybe, well, it all evens out in a matter of 4 or 5 years as compared to a petrol car or a diesel car. And then Mahindra came out with the XUV400, this particular EV, and we've been very, very excited. We've been driving it for the past few days, and the natural comparison happens to be with the Nexon EV because it's in the same price bracket, 16 to 20 lakhs, gives you nearly 300 kilometers of range on the road. That's what we've tested. Very interesting design, a lot of use of copper over here. This grille with the XUV grille and the new Mahindra logo looks great, but what is it like to drive? What are all the features like on the inside, and is there truly an electric tech element in this EV, or is it just, well, the initial model, the first one, and then it'll get better with time? That's what we're going to find out on this episode of Tech Today. Well, let's get inside. The Mahindra XUV400, an EV we were very excited about because it was on this very road in Mumbai where we crowned the Tata Nexon EV as the #1 EV on Tech Today of 2022. But in 2023, does this vehicle pack a punch? Honestly, it's in the same price range, and we've been driving it for a few days. We were excited before we got this EV, but spoiler alert, it's not as exciting once you get behind the wheel. All that and a lot more on this special video on Tech Today. Let's start off by talking about what works for this EV, and then we'll tell you what doesn't necessarily work for this EV on Tech Today. The biggest problem is that you are comparing this to a vehicle by a rival called the Tata Nexon EV, which is so well established. It's gotten better with every rendition. Each model and each generation has gotten so much better on the Nexon EV, so much so that on this very road we crowned the Nexon EV the best EV on Tech Today of 2022. But cut to 2023, and we hoped that this Mahindra XUV400 would actually pack a punch. Unfortunately, it doesn't, and the simple word is, it is refinement. This vehicle, when you get in, doesn't necessarily seem like an EV. The reason it doesn't seem like an EV is because an EV is synonymous with tech. Hence, we are your one-stop shop for everything electric, everything tech. But it seems low on tech as soon as you get into this vehicle, be it the panel right here. Honestly, even the Thar does a better job, and we are such big fans of some of those massive vehicles from the Mahindra lineup. The logo looks amazing right over here, but then it stops right there. They've got this copper finish all over. They've put copper in different parts. In terms of design, yes, you've got a nice little gearbox right here, which looks quite modern, and then all of a sudden it sticks out like a sore thumb because then the infotainment system is just laggy. You feel like you've gone back to 1995 when you're pressing. I can't for the life of me understand why in an EV, which we were so excited about, would Mahindra put this sort of an infotainment system. It is literally, I think the Thar has a better system when it's not meant to be a tech-loaded SUV. You're talking about the other things in this vehicle. You don't even get a sporty steering wheel. You don't get many top features like hill assist. The car goes back so often, and you're wondering because there are other competitors and other cars in this class who actually have all those features. Doesn't have traction control, which is kind of weird, and that really does contribute to ride quality because when you're driving this vehicle, and you have obviously 3 modes, you have fun, fast, and fearless. But the minute you put this in either of these modes, of course, like an EV, it gets the boost that you want. And in that department, it's an EV, so it is a good drive when it comes to acceleration. The regen changes in each of these modes. So if you go on fun, fast, and fearless, and I don't know why they're called these 3 particular modes. It sounds a lot like the next Vin Diesel movie, but I'm going to go in fun mode, and then obviously the regen is at its peak. The braking, the deceleration all gets impacted, and then when you're just driving this without hill assist, without traction control, it's not a very reassuring or a confidence building sort of a drive. Often You have to redirect the steering wheel, a lot of tinkering to be done to make sure you're on the road, to make sure that nothing is amiss. And I think that doesn't make it a tension-free drive. And that's strange because across the Mahindra non-EV, the petrol, the diesel cars, all the SUVs are perhaps some of the best drives in the market in their class. But this one you're comparing to a Tata Nexon EV, which is a very, very smooth drive. That I feel like this doesn't have the sort of refinement. Now, another thing about this particular EV, most EVs that we get on the show are crowd pullers. They are eyeball-grabbing vehicles in terms of design. This looks exactly like the XUV300. The last time we had the Ioniq or any of the luxury EVs, they make a statement. Even the MG ZS EV for that matter, where no one genuinely knows, apart from the fact that it is quite silent like most EVs. Ride quality is okay, but yes, when you jam the accelerator, barring the fact that you don't have traction control, this EV can definitely pack a punch. But that is obviously another argument altogether, because the real petrol heads will always say that EVs don't have the genuine driving experience. It's a very different proposition. I genuinely love EVs. Even driving aspirated engines and supercharged V8s and whatnot doesn't seem the same after you've driven a really good EV. I think that's my take, because I'm also a tech geek. But now it's kind of strange to see in 2023 when every automaker, even if they're not going electric or hybrid or mild hybrid, what they are doing, and doing very successfully, is now marketing the tech in their vehicles. Which, honestly, if there was a lot more going for this car, I wouldn't consider, but there is no tech. Are they going for a minimalistic sort of approach? I don't know if that's the best way to take on the Nexon EV, because the Nexon and the other EVs in the Tata lineup genuinely have their tech on point, be it the app, be it the infotainment systems, and the new Nexon EV Dark Edition has that really fancy Harrier Range Rover-like approach to design. So there's a lot more happening in that department. Now, the first thing that you consider when you're driving an EV is range anxiety. Now, that obviously comes down to battery management systems and range. Now, on this XUV400, all other things aside, no matter how you drive this particular vehicle, in which mode, whether you're using the air conditioning or not, how you're braking, all of that put together, you are not going to get even 1 kilometer more than 300 kilometers on this nearly 40 kilowatt hour battery pack. And that's also because some say that Mahindra has used a different sort of battery on the car, and in terms of their battery management system, even subsequent models of Mahindra EVs will have more updated battery packs and battery systems. For this one, it's a different technology, which a lot of people argue is a little outdated. But let's see what that means in terms of longevity, durability. Look, like I said, a lot of refinement is needed when it comes to this particular EV. And I wish that my excitement levels were as high in anticipation of this EV as they are right now. But at this point, well, a lot of work needs to be done. Well, one thing that is nice about this vehicle is the sunroof. It's very easy to access, and it gives you that extra headroom, that breathing room. If you're nearly 6 feet tall, it feels like you're in a car which is deceptively taller or higher than you thought. But yeah, this works for me as well. And if I really want just a little bit of ventilation coming in, then this incline works for me as well. And there you go, you can enjoy the sights and sounds of the city. Well, the Mahindra XUV400, and you'll often end up on this side of the car because this is where you end up charging the car from. But that's a story for another day. Look, the car is great for a first generation model. I'm guessing that Mahindra will get much better with its EVs, like it has excelled in the petrol and diesel space with the XUV700, with the XUVs before that, with the Scorpio, the new one, and of course, a Tech Today favorite and a social media favorite, the Mahindra Thar. The EVs are still a work in progress, and even if you look at competition and the OGs in this space, Tata with the Nexon, the Tiago, the Tigor has gotten better with every generation, and they will too. So we're looking forward to it. For now, Well, the Mahindra XUV400 still needs a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of work, but honestly, I can't wait for the next generation of this particular EV.